Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. You think about it, we rant about it. Listen to us live on Facebook.
Hey, everybody. David Solomon here in Montreal. Stuart Brisgel in Florida. And I don't know if you can recognize him with that mask, but there's a reason for this in just a second. But oh my God, it's great to be back at home. It's great to be back with you guys live. It's been fun. Sorry for some of the pre-recordings or whatever, but we wanted to keep going and people loved it. And we got some great feedback. So thank you all very much for all of the rants that you've been listening to over the last few weeks. Now, we have been talking about COVID, Stuart. That the inconsistencies, the politicians telling us one thing, governments telling us something, CDC saying something, school boards are saying things, all kinds of stuff. We're getting such freaking confusing information that people are not 100% sure. But the one thing that keeps coming up again is what is with the masks. And what's crazy, Stuart, is that I don't think people truly understand, and after taking a flight yesterday, I saw it with my own eyes with the hundreds of people on the flight, that the masks that they're wearing are not necessarily doing the job that they think it's supposed to do it. But Stuart, take it away, bud. You know more about this than I do.
Wait a second. Let me take my mask off for just a second so I can have a glass of water.
Oh, wait a second. What about the people sitting next to you?
Oh, my God. Okay. So, David is actually, I sort of brought this concept up late last night when David was heading back to good old Montreal. And I had a thought because it's been driving me a little batty. David was just on a plane. I was on a plane the week before. And you're on the plane. Everyone must wear a mask. Now, it doesn't mean what kind of mask and what masks actually do something or don't do something. And again, I'm not an anti-masker, or I wouldn't have one this close to my hand. And I'm definitely in favor of being responsible, right? But like all the governments are saying, let's follow some science and common sense. So the first thing is, as David brought up, he was on a plane like a sardine. Or close to a sardine, even if he was in first class.
He wasn't in first class. I was on a no-frills flight, but thank you very much for putting that in.
Yeah, little dig. When you're traveling first class, David, you have a little bit more space.
There's no space in economy.
Hang on. In first class, there's a little bit more space than there is in economy. However, it's under the 2-meter rule, which means it's as if you are close to someone. Now, when you're on a plane, they serve the food all at the same time. So like I took my mask off to have my bottle of water. Everyone has their mask off and everyone's eating at the exact same time. Kind of loses common sense and logic on why an airline would duct tape a passenger for lowering his mask when the airline serves food in a manner in which everyone removes the mask. So if you want to follow federal guidelines, you must have a guideline that makes sense. And anyone that was duct taped on an airplane, you may be a retard for not putting on the mask. I'm dropping it intentionally.
No.
Because you must be mentally challenged if you try and go against federal law on an airplane. You got to be an idiot. Every single word, a moron, a jerk, a dumbass. But the bottom line is the person that got duct taped, I think, has a first-class lawsuit against the airline.
Stuart, but let's talk about the schools here because that's where
we're only 4 minutes and 9 minutes in, and I'm trying to get there, David. So now that we understand the complete and utter breakdown in common sense on the planet, is in the federal governance that tell international air traffics are all governed by the same rules. You must wear a mask. Okay, now let's take it down a notch because not everyone like David is traveling first class.
No, for God's sakes, I wasn't traveling first class. Get over it, people. Unfortunately, I'm not as rich as Stuart. Let's move on. Next.
Okay. I'm just trying to make a joke. The next thing is let's talk about school. Many of us have started to send our kids back to school. The great state of New York is actually still not there yet. But Florida is well on their way. And I don't know, Montreal, David, are they back?
There's quite a few back in school, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the continuations of oxymorons that are going on in most school districts, not only in Canada, but in the United States. And I'm going to talk specifically about United States. So we now know that people have put entrance in this way, exited that way, meaning that COVID doesn't travel in contra terms, right? It only follows the flow of your traffic. So when someone walks in this way and walks out that way, COVID cannot be passed because you're using two separate doors. However, COVID is a virus and it travels in air like water. So it doesn't matter which direction you're walking, COVID travels in all directions. So in schools, they're making you walk in the right door and out the left door. But you know what they're also doing? They're telling everyone to leave at the same time and come at the same time. Therefore, it's a clusterfuck. Again, everyone's walking this close to each other, just like the sardines, and maybe more like the sardines in the can, not on an airplane, like David traveled in first class. Now, let me continue, right? Now, all these kids are being trucked into in mass to cafeterias. And in the cafeterias, all the kids are wearing their masks, and then they got to take them off to have a glass of water and eat food. So again, while they're all like sardines, every school district is now saying you must wear a mask, but they feed everyone together, cattle everyone together, and therefore making their mask mandate beyond the R word, moronic. Okay? I really cannot tell you how dumb this is. And whatever science is behind it, I have never heard, not even the Dr. Crazy Fauci, who's a flip-flopper, talk about this as making any sense whatsoever. Okay, let me go on. There's more. So not only are they barring kids from entering school that don't wear a mask, and again, I'm not against masks. And there are some people out there that are fully vaccinated. The whole reason why we got fully vaccinated was to no longer have to wear a mask. But for whatever reason, even if you're vaccinated over the age of 12 and up in this United States, I don't know what it is in Canada.
Yeah, it is 12 and up.
You're forcing everyone to wear masks with or without vaccination. Where is the science as to why? Now, here's the next thing. This mask is a 3-ply medical grade surgical mask, right? That mask is not going to do anything for good old, what's it called? COVID. This is an N95 particle mask, right? This is a mask that you use to prevent COVID. So why are they mandating this little mask or any piece of fabric that you can put over your mouth? And again, they're throwing people out of school. They're putting people in duct tape. They're arresting people. They are villainizing people. They are actually getting physical with people. And I have not heard a single ounce of science that supports this lunacy. There, L word, not R word.
So, you know, Stuart, what you're bringing up, there's a lot of points here. First of all, let's go back to the kids at school. Okay.
I'm gonna have a drink.
And I'm going to tell you something. I'm at the CDC website, and I want to tell you something that really disturbs me about the CDC website, which is why probably it is causing the confusion, is what type of mask are we talking about? And this is what it says: have 2 or more layers of washable, breathable fabric. Now, the problem I have with that is I don't think people really truly get what that is. And it's not just me. We're sending kids to school. There are masks that are being sold. There are let me remind everybody, you know, when you buy food, there are regulations. When you buy a pack of cigarettes, there are warning labels. There are no labels on any masks except for medical stuff like you just got there, the N95 ones and whatever. But the point I'm trying to get at is that they're selling right now. Stuart, if you don't mind just taking that down, thank you. If you look at, for example, any website today that sells clothing, they're selling masks, and not one of them has to follow any regulation whatsoever. They are selling anything with material on it, and Lord knows if those are the appropriate ones. Do they have their 2 or more layers of wearable or washable, breathable fabric? And Stuart, I think that when we're sending the kids to school and they're not wearing the appropriate masks, we are not doing them any justice. I mean, just that alone shows the entire inconsistency. Now, I'll give you another one, okay? It's not fit properly on them. I've seen kids going around with adult masks, big masks, that's sticking out here and whatever. Guys, or under the nose. It makes no sense whatsoever. The school systems are, we're talking about the kids have to wear the masks. Okay, but what about a ventilation system?
Yeah.
Here in Quebec, there's a whole argument. There's no science behind a proper ventilation system. But on an airplane, right? They've invested huge bucks on the ventilation system. Now, yes, I can't open up a window on an airplane, but I can't in the middle of winter open up in minus 20 degree weather a window in a classroom either. So,
but when you were flying on an airplane, let's break down this logic. First of all, when you're flying domestic, you are cattle to go in line to board a plane.
But let's talk about schools. Stick to schools. Our topic is schools. Forget the plane. I compared the ventilation.
When you're in lunch in the cafeteria, the food is in chafing trays. It's open.
Look,
it's out there.
I got to tell you something.
I have another gripe. Let's talk about schools. So we discuss, and I'm trying to bring you through the whole thought, David, and there is a process. We talked about sardines. We talked about walking in and out of different doors. We talked about everyone going together. The bottom line is, let's now talk about the process that goes into the school. There is no ventilation. There is no improved ventilation. If you have a seating chart, in Florida and most states, public schools have seating charts. Now, your pod has 4 people in 6 feet of each other. If one of you gets COVID, the pod, all 6 of you got to go home and quarantine.
Correct.
For 2 weeks.
Correct.
2 weeks. Or some variable.
Whatever. Anyways, yeah.
Okay. So now we discussed they come in and out of school like this. They go in and out of cafeteria like this. They sit in different orders in the lunchroom. Now they do a fire drill. And in the fire drill, they're all cramped together, marching like stormtroopers in and out into unventilated areas that are even tighter and more confined. The bottom line is they don't know what they're doing.
The bottom line is,
David, 1 second. And if you remember, way back in the beginning, I posted a picture from the 1960s of kids hiding under desks during a nuclear drill.
Yep.
This is as stupid as that.
But let's just put it this way. The school systems, and everyone is different, whatever, they're claiming budgets. They are crying. Nobody really has a playbook that works. What we've seen here is that they're relying on the masks to be the super saver. When you're talking about middle school and high school where the kids should have been vaccinated, okay. When you're in elementary school and none of the kids are vaxxed, maybe the teachers are, but we've had situations here where entire classrooms are shut down because one kid had COVID. We have had situations where an entire school program was shut down because the kids had COVID. The problem is that this reliance on masks being the only methodology, where the masks are the only savior. Man, oh man, I got to tell you, we've got it wrong. And I'm going to tell you, go to the CDC site about even how to do it with kids. Unfortunately, we are doing our children a serious disservice. And they're the carriers right now. And they're the ones that if they get COVID, are likely to suffer as much or as badly as many of the adults, or the seniors. And right now, Stuart, to wrap this up, if all we're doing is saying to a kid, you need to wear a mask in a classroom, and there is not the proper ventilation, and there's not the proper distancing, and there's not the proper everything, a package, then we are doing this wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of the week. It is Friday. Monday is Labor Day. We will be here on Monday to give you a shout out, but on Wednesday, Stuart and I will not be ranting, but we will be back the following Friday. So want to wish everybody a fantastic long Labor Day weekend. And if we don't see you on Monday, for our Jewish friends, want to wish you a wonderful and happy New Year. Wishing you all the very best. In the meantime, if you didn't catch our rants from this week or last week or the week before, check us out on all the favorite podcasts, YouTube channel, the Rant Network.com, and so on and so forth. We love you. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Say goodbye, Stuart.